Hey everyone, Avros here, back again with the Final Fantasy XII game challenge with Final Fantasy V, and as we covered in the last episode, now that we've got the Wind Drake, we can fly our way down to the Kingdom of Vals, so just making our way down there now, showing off this lake and a bit of the scenery around the area, and here we are at Castle Vals and the town of Vals, so just a quick save before we proceed, first save since finishing North Mountain, and just heading up into Vals, and then I remembered that there's actually something else we can do before tackling the next dungeon and going through the kingdom here, and that was that we can fly our Wind Drake and head our way back down to Castle Tycoon. So just following the mountains around the side here, and around we go. Just got a glimpse of the castle there on the side, but just north of where we are now is the Pirate Cave. There's the forest that Bart's Avros started in, and the Tycoon Meteor. And there's Castle Tycoon, so just south of Vals. And as we come up to the castle, this guard here is happy to see Lena and lets her know that the Chancellor wants to speak with her. So up we go into the castle, and here's the Chancellor, surprised to see Lena. And she says doesn't mean to have worried them, and the palace is severely weakened under the guards and everything there, but Lena's got a responsibility and can't stick around to help defend the castle, but also says that her father has gone missing, and the Chancellor understands and says that they will protect the kingdom, and she'll return and bring father back with her, and until that time it's up to the Chancellor and the guards to keep Tycoon safe, and asks if they'll at least spend the night, which they agree to do. So, going into a bit of a nighttime cutscene here, and bit of interesting character development. So here's Lena, and she's awoken in the evening, decides to go outside of her room and see what's going on, and heads out to the balcony overlooking the castle where Faris is, and wants to know what the hell Faris is doing up, and Faris wants to know the same and says that Lena should be in bed, and Lena calls Faris sister, and she's like, "I'm right, aren't I? You're my older sister." Faris is like, denying it, and says that being a pirate couldn't be a prince or even a princess, so and runs away, which interesting. And Lena's believes that Faris is a sister based on the pendant, and is a bit distraught that she denied so vehemently. So cutting to Avros now, and people are trying to wake him up, and everything's all still dark. He gets out of bed and flexes a bit when we realise that, no, it's morning and everyone's there, and everyone wants to know what the hell Avros is doing, and he knocks himself on the head a few times and all's back to normal, and just a throwaway gag, I guess. It's never really addressed at all, so here we go, looting the castle, running around talking to some of the commoners, and sped this footage up a lot. There's a lot of castle to cover, and Jenica here says that she served both princesses in the castle, both Lena and her older sister Sarissa, who was lost at sea. So yeah, Lena's probably right when she says Faris is her sister, but Faris doesn't want to admit it. A lot of supplies in Castle Tycoon, a lot of just items, potions, and restoratives to get rid of status ailments, and this is the Wind Drake Tower, so this is where the opening cutscene of the game took place with King Tycoon. Just thought I'd show that off because it's a mildly interesting location in the tower. And secret passageway over here takes you up to this tower, where there's a couple of cottages, which are a super-powered tent item that restores a lot more health and mana, and that NPC there refused to get out of my way, so here's a secret passageway that we've opened up our way into, and Shuriken, Ashura, and the Chancellor in here, who gives a staff to us, but the game doesn't tell you what staff it is, and then a diamond bell as well. So as you'll see here in a sec when I open up the items and sort them, the healing staff in the bottom right there is the staff that the Chancellor gave us, but it's a bit weird, the Chancellor hiding in that hidden passageway that has a switch on the outside to open. It makes you wonder how the hell he was going to get out of there if we didn't show up. So flying our way back to Vals now, we've done everything we can at Castle Tycoon for the time being, and after a quick detour into town that was largely uninteresting, so I cut it, we head into Castle Vals and run around to get ourselves a few more items. Apparently people don't mind the Warriors of Light just running around their castles stealing all of their items, and the King of Waltz is pleasantly surprised to see Lena, and statecraft being a wonderful thing, comes and humbly requests that they stop using the crystal water, and the King's reluctant to do so because the crystal's power makes their kingdom so prosperous. Which is when we pull out big guns and say, well, if we keep using the power of the crystals, it'll shatter. And King Lol says he's heard about that from the Wind Crystal, but his scholars say that everything should be fine, so he's happy to continue onwards and not do anything about it when a large rumbling appears and another meteorite, which, considering what happened after the first meteorite showed up, which was all the bad stuff with the Wind Crystal, you might be wondering what exactly is going on with these meteorites, especially seeing this one lands close to Waltz. As I say, close to the Tower of Waltz, up to the north. The King looks out the window and sees it, and says to assemble the guards so they can go and investigate what exactly is happening. And he pardons himself from Lena's presence and runs away with the guard, which, interestingly enough, kings in this world take it upon themselves to go out adventuring and solve problems, so we're going to go and follow. We've got a much quicker way to get there than they do, and fly on a Windrake up north to check out what's going on at the Tower of Waltz. So there's the tower, we saw that earlier in the game. Water Crystal sent its power out to bless us at the start, and here's the Waltz meteorite. Pretty similar to the Tycoon meteorite, there's not really anything going on there, so let's jump back on Hiryu here and fly back over to the tower, and into the tower we go. So this is our next dungeon. It's incredibly straightforward, just climbing this tower, and you might notice here in some of these combats as we go through, Avros continually just trying to use the steal command on these ice soldiers. That's because you can steal a mithril sword from them, which is one of the strongest swords at this point in the game. We can't actually get them at all until we hit the next town after this dungeon, so having them early really beefs up the damage of anyone that can use a sword. So at this point it would be Lena, so unfortunately unable to steal one there. And here's the king, and he says Gorilla's upstairs and we need to go and save the crystal. So he's finally listening to us now and seeing what's going on. And a bit of a new mechanic there with these vines which we can climb up, and a silk rope there, and the ridiculous look on their face as they fall back down, but that is the only way down. So just equipping some gear there onto Galuf, and some really weird mobs in here, these Paz de Sul, or some sort of soul enemies there. They can be quite annoying. And Ricard mages as well. They also have a very good item that you can steal, but it's a rare steal from them. So unfortunately, I only stole a potion from that one, which means not any chance of getting the rare steal in this combat. And I didn't end up getting the rare steal item, so it's not really worth covering what exactly it is, but if you do play through the game yourself, definitely worth trying to steal from those ice soldiers and from the Ricard mages for every single one of them that you run into. So just trying to trigger a random encounter there, trying to get another ice soldier fight before we pressed on. Unfortunately, no such luck, so some more Paz de Suls here, and decided to press on and go ahead. This combat gives me an opportunity to cover some bad translation from the original translation of this game. So as you can see here, these are the same mobs. That's a screenshot of the PlayStation 1 version of this in Final Fantasy Anthology, and you can see that these wyverns are called Wyburns. Not sure how they got that translation, but just interesting little fact there. And back to the combat here with wyverns, where we're just cleaning up. Yeah, there's a lot of weird monster names in the SNES version of this game, along with the PlayStation 1 translation of the SNES version. It's basically the SNES version emulated on PlayStation 1, but not sure why you'd want to play that version with the long load times that it has, being a disc-based game, and it taking a very long time to load between some of the dungeons and some of the cutscenes they've added, but also the weird translations which kind of ruin the story to a degree. And here we are at the Water Crystal, so just going through the party. Avros still a thief. Not much changed with his equipment other than the Kempo Gi, which adds 1 to his strength, so it makes him hit a bit harder. Lena has some quite different gear here, but still the same skills. Has the longsword, iron armor, and that mithril helm from her dad that we found on North Mountain. Galuf, now equipped with the silk robe and the frost rod, which boosts his ice spell damage. And Faris, not much different here, but she's also wearing a Kenpo Gi to increase her strength there, make her punches hit just a little bit harder. So stepping forward here, this golden dressed knight, which looks different than the ones from Waltz, says that Gorula's being controlled but won't let it destroy the crystal when he gets headbutted out of the way, and Avros calls out incoming one more time. And here's the next boss, Gorula, 1200 HP, one of the strongest ones we've ran into so far. As you expect, boss health does keep going up as we go through. Can steal some potions from it, but I didn't bother in this encounter. Elemental weaknesses, not really anything to talk about there. Pretty standard for a lot of these mobs at this point. There's not a huge amount of elemental weaknesses that we can take advantage of. And Gorula is a magic beast type boss. Not relevant to anything we can do right now, but only a couple of immunities there to a minion sleep, so a lot of different things you could do to ease up this encounter. But for me, I've just gone in guns blazing, so we're just going straight in into battle, and just gonna lay into the boss. Has some very powerful attacks here, Gorula, so we're just gonna hit it with some ice magic due to that frost rod, and just go for attacks. Actually, I did steal a potion. Yeah, I forgot that I actually went ahead and did the steal there. Oh, well. So, not too much going on just yet. Gorula hasn't really done anything much apart from taking advantage of its multiple attacks per turn, so you can see that every time Gorula sort of gets a round of attack there, it does do up to 3 hits on different party members. It can also target the same party member, and also the rush attack there, which you just demonstrated, which hits an enemy and causes the sap status, causing one of your party members to constantly drain health during the fight. And there he goes, laying into Faris with 2 hits. And so now Faris is dead. Yeah, this fight, like I said, it's not particularly difficult. I think I might have been a little underleveled here, or just possibly could have picked a bit better class composition, because Faris is now revived. You'll notice this is not for very long due to the multiple hits that he does per round, and there goes Faris back down again. So this fight went for a bit longer than I was expecting it to, due to the fact that I didn't want Faris to miss out on EXP. Just to cover the EXP mechanics in this game, if one of your characters is dead at the end of combat, they don't get their share of the EXP, and they also don't get any ABP either for their job, so better to try and make sure that they stay up as best you can in combat. So white mages or some other form of healing is always useful. Yeah, not too much more to sort of say here. Faris just keeps taking a dirt nap. Gorula's a big bully and just keeps laying into her. And the only person on the party here that's really safe from too much punishment from Gorula, as you might have noticed throughout the fight, is Lena. When she's being hit by Gorula, pretty much every single time has taken 0 damage apart from that rush attack. So counter attack there from Faris when getting hit by Gorula, so the monk class come in handy there. And between Galuf and Faris, we're now just going to keep throwing around these cures and keeping the party alive as best we can, while Lena and Avros just go all out damage. And that's the fight over. 5 ABP, high potion, which is a very handy item to get. And we've saved the crystal, so here it is glowing, and maybe we overreacted, because another crystal just broke. And some shards scattered around, we were too late to really do anything, and this knight starts, gets up and starts wandering away, and collapses in the doorway. And it says Lord Galuf, and Galuf's shocked, and the knight says, "Forgive me, I couldn't protect it, but we have to go and protect the fire crystal." And Galuf's got a glimpse into who he might be there, but still not enough to cure him of his amnesia or to give him any idea of who his actual identity is. But the crystal shards are all glowing, and Avros there wonders, well, are they going to give us their powers as well? So, with the first shard we got here as the summoner job. Next up, we grab the red mage, and next one is berserker, which we won't use. Time Mage there. And last but not least, one of my favourites, the Mystic Knight. So the tower, conveniently, must have been load-bearing crystal shards, starts to rumble away and sounds like it's going to collapse as soon as we pick up all the shards. And you'll notice there's just one there off to the side. There's actually no way to get that shard right now, so we're just going to run away and not grab it. The map zooms out and that entire section of the continent starts to collapse, not just the tower. So that entire section is now gone, and we've managed to make it out, and we're trapped in the ocean when Sildra shows back up. Faris is shocked to see her, and Sildra starts sucking people into her mouth. Faris, like I said, shocked to see Sildra is alive. Lena starts drifting away, so Faris swims over to pull her over, and in we go, all of us into Sildra's mouth, which I don't think is necessarily the safest place to be, but I trust Faris. She knows Sildra better than I do. And there's a lovely little beach here, and Sildra lets us all out and saves us from drowning in the ocean. And everyone promptly passes out, apart from Faris, who wants to talk to Sildra. Lena gets back up and realizes Sildra used the last of their strength to save the party. And Faris is distraught but won't let Sildra die, and Sildra drifts off the coast there, and Lena has to stop Faris from chasing. And that's the last we're going to see of Sildra. Lena thanks Sildra for her sacrifice, and Faris has to grieve once more for the sisters she thought she already lost. And that's going to be it for this segment. We've cleared the water tower, we've lost 2 crystals, and we've washed up on the shore here, right near the meteorite, so we'll have to see what's going to happen next in the next episode. So thank you for watching, and we'll cover the jobs from the water crystal and what happens next in the next episode.